Swanee, Fraser makes a good point, though. I mean, Greg here writes in saying another time and place, Clement could have been a good fit for Rangers, but wrong time and place. He says time for Derek McInnes. But as Fraser says, see when he first came in, he looked like the right man for the job. He got them in this win and run. And a lot of Rangers fans would probably say he probably should have won the title last year.
Yeah, he certainly got himself into the position to do so. Abetted by Celtic sort of letting things slip a little bit and from the period when they were in front. I don't know why that is. Fraser referenced, obviously, the Michael Beale start. He had some things to say when he left, but he didn't feel things were working behind the scenes the way he wanted them and things like that. We don't know what exactly is happening behind the scenes, but is it something similar again? How can you go from being, sailing along so beautifully, and then all of a sudden it goes falling apart? Listen, we've been over it time and again about the people that are missing in the background, and the lack of the sporting director and all that stuff. Philippe Clement touched upon it again on Friday in his press conference that for 8 months he was the guy who was speaking about every single thing. He was the guy who was having to speak about stands not being available to be open and things like that, and that's not how it should be. Whatever it is, something has derailed him. There might be something equally in the fact that I know it's that a lot of the players are different, but it seems to be whenever expectation comes upon the Rangers, any of these recent Rangers teams, they just can't handle it. Michael Beale's team won, all those games in a row. When it came to the crunch points of this, they got themselves to a position, the semi-finals and the finals against Celtic, fold. They got themselves into the position last year to win the title, fold. Expectation this season, fold. And it's happening time and again. So I don't know why that is, but as for Clement, it's very, very difficult to put a finger on why it's gone so spectacularly wrong in the manner that it has. It may just be the Glasgow blender. You hear about people talking about it all the time. It just becomes too much for people. The constant strain, the constant attention, the constant being looked at. And that goes for players, but it's tenfold for a manager of Rangers or Celtic. You need to be made of special stuff to handle it. And quite clearly, you could tell by the way Philippe Clement's interviews had changed and some of the stuff he was coming out with, things had got on top of him.
I mean, I was going to say that, Fraser, that continental managers sometimes turn their nose up at the standard of Scottish football, but I think Swanee's spot on when he says it's such a unique environment. You don't win one game and it's full-blown crisis. You need to be a special character to succeed at Rangers or Celtic.
That's 10 Premiership games they've not won now out of 27, 5 draws, 5 defeats. So it's surprising he's actually got to this stage of the season. I think we all know it's probably Europe that's kept him in a job, but it looks like he's very unlikely to get the chance to finish that. But they talk about, Swanee rightly mentions how whenever they're presented with an opportunity, they blow it. That's on the players as much as the manager. And the nervousness that Clement referred to yesterday that appeared to creep into his players, I think that sums up the fact they've not got the right characters on the park. I go back to the fact they weren't playing forward passes. Everything was too safe. When they did try to play forward, the sloppiness crept in. They just don't seem to have the mentality to handle the expectation of playing in front of that crowd when the going gets tough.
Fraser, sorry to break in. I actually think what you said there is spot on. But that interview from Clement last night almost seemed to me like he was trying to tell people that.
Yeah.
Well, there was a nervousness at the start of the game, and I don't know why it was. In brackets, Celtic dropped points. That's almost what it sounded like to me, and that couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Thinking back to Clement's post-match press yesterday, it's almost as if he knew what was coming today. And that's another reason, as you say there, when it's not throwing the players under the bus, but he's looking for the excuses behind the players. And it's right. I mean, Rangers were absolutely bossed by St Mirren yesterday, and that should never happen to a Rangers team at home in the Premiership. First St Mirren win there for 34 years. They've now done the Dublin Rangers for the first time in 45 years. The standards have slipped dramatically at Rangers, and as much as I tried to back Philippe Clement during his troublesome December, I kept referring to the fact he's won 3 titles back home in Belgium. That is clearly there is a good boss in there somewhere. This has just got on top of him. I don't know if Rangers have destroyed a good manager or if a good manager has further dented Rangers. But look, the two haven't married up well, and it looks like there's a split coming very, very soon now.